Hello everybody. It's been like so long since I've posted a video. It's literally been more than a year. Sorry for the background noise of the fan. The majority of the things I'll be telling you, you might already know. If not, then they'll just be a review. You could send them to someone else who might not know, because not everybody's gonna know or not remember. And let me just say a disclaimer that majority of these things I will just tell you and remind you throughout the video to ask your school and ask your advisors, because every school is different and they work differently. But these are just like overall things that I've gone through, that I asked about, and that I had trouble with figuring out. So I'm gonna start with the myths of community college, because I'm pretty sure most of you already know the stigma surrounding community college and how most people tend to not want to go to community college because they might think that it's not for them, or it's not made for them, or if it's for people just who are lower income or may not have the grades to go to the four-year colleges, which is not true at all. So I decided that I just wanted to go community college, especially because in California they have some community colleges have 2-year free or 1-year free. And I'll explain those things later in the video. The first one is that professors at community colleges are underqualified, which is not true, especially because one of my professors and the professors that I've had in general, they are obviously going to college and learning the specific subjects that they're taking, and usually have to get a teaching certificate. Another myth is that community college is easy. Well, I wouldn't say it's easy, because just in general, if you move up in your subjects, they're gonna be a lot harder. But that just depends on yourself. If you think the class is hard, and also a professor's teaching method can make it more difficult, or like for example, for me, I have more difficulty in science and math, so I need help in those things, so I always go to the resources at school to help me out. And also I'm so thankful that I've had like amazing professors that are clear in their instructions and are very helpful. At the same time, different colleges have different ways of conducting their curriculum. Like for example, that UCs, they're known to be more research-based, while Cal States are more hands-on. But you know, it's depending on your major and stuff like that. Like, not everything's gonna be the same, not everything's just gonna depend. So the last myth is that community college is only for people with lower grades / test scores or lower income. As I said earlier, that is not the case. I had the GPA that can possibly get into like a 4-year college. I don't know about my SATs, because I only took one SAT. There was like a whole bunch of things that were going on in my life at that time, so I couldn't really take more than one SAT. Everybody from different backgrounds, different like grades, different test scores at community college. Like, you will not expect like just one group of people to be there. Like the same with 4-year colleges. Like, not everybody's gonna have like they're all middle income or higher income. On to the tips and notes that I have for this video. Community college, I would think, is the best for taking your general education classes, so you don't have to spend so much money. Especially if you're in California, which obviously the video is based about California school. Depending on the college, it has 2 years free or 1 year free. There's more colleges that are starting to do 2 years free. And I think there is about 17 states in the US that offer those free years of community college. So that definitely helps save extra money. Especially if you don't know what your major is, like in your first year or like possibly the first half of your second year, you could just figure it out during community college. Because if you're going to apply to transfer, you have to have your major decided, because by the time when you go to the 4-year colleges, they would least likely accept you if you are undecided. And according to the college that I'm transferring to, apparently they say that by the time that you're there, like transfer students cannot change majors. But I mean, I'm pretty sure people change majors anyway. So just letting you know, if you want to be accepted into that school, you have to declare a major when you apply and before you apply. Even people who go to 4-year colleges, they still take some classes like general education classes at community college because they want to get it out of the way and do more of the major courses. So sometimes they take it during the summer breaks, the winter breaks, or just take it alongside sometimes. I would say because of that, definitely go to community college. Okay, back on the 2 years free, or like the 3 years of community college. Obviously, depending on your family's income, FAFSA will either give you money or they won't. So that's like, I mean, for majority of colleges, you would have to check for each state's like program and eligibility, because I don't know if they're the same as like for California or like my college. So you just have to like research and check, or like check with the college directly. How it works for the 2 years free for at least my school was that first year you definitely get free, but if you do not have certain GPA or higher that they want you to have for that first year, then you might not get your second year free. So you definitely do not try to slack off your first year. It's college, and you're still sending those 2 years of college to your 4-year. I'm not sure if it's for all colleges or that's just FAFSA in general, but it says that you have to be a full-time student to be able to receive your FAFSA aid. So that's usually like 12 units for the schools that I've had so far that have told me. 12 units, I'm not sure if you know, if you've been explained about this or not, is like depending on how many hours or units your class is gonna be. So for me, my college had like each hour is how many units the class is. But I don't know about other schools, so you just gotta check with your school again. This is the thing that I wish someone told me about, is you need to check for additional paperwork for FAFSA. If you need to send your college any additional paperwork that your parents have to sign or something like that, or additional documents that you have to send in, you have to just keep on looking at the website or student email to double check. Maybe call the school, email the school to ask if there's any additional things that you have to submit to be able to receive your disbursement money. Because for me, I didn't know the processing time. I didn't know that I was supposed to submit an extra document. So my disbursement money did not come in until I think the second disbursement date, because I think it took like a few long weeks to be processed. And also check when your disbursement dates are and stuff like that, due dates, you know. And here is an important thing. Well, one of the important things, if your high school offers you community college classes, definitely take it, because One, it will help you kind of figure out how college is gonna be like, how the subjects might be like. I mean, obviously it's not gonna be an exact same like experience, but it will help you also with getting some classes out of the way, because I took 2 classes during my senior year that was with my community college, but obviously at my high school, and it definitely helped me not taking as many classes as I originally planned to take. It's also good for college applications that you took classes while you were in high school. I mean, that's just on you if you want to take it or not. Like, you don't have to, but I'm just saying it's beneficial for you if you do. If not at your school, just check at your local community college to see if they have any classes available that you can take and your eligibility, if you can take it or not. And another thing is, when choosing a community college, because obviously you don't have to go to your local one, you can check out the programs they have available that are the major that you want to be in. Like, for example, at my community college, they had like specific technology like programs, firefighting programs, they had a nursing program, you know, stuff like that. So you have to search and see what they have available. But for me, since I didn't know what I had to do with contacting my counselor, because no one told me that you had to contact your counselor before you start school, so I just got this form that's called the iGetsy, and then they also have like different forms, and what it's practically is the general education classes for both Cal States and UCs. That's the iGetsy. But UCs, if you know you're gonna go to UC, you just get that form, and they have like the general education classes that you need to take. And then same thing for Cal States, they have a form like that too. And after that, aside from your general education classes, you have to look at the assist.org or the college itself that you're interested in and see what you need to take. Contact the college and see if they have a thing on their website that has what is equivalent of your classes at community colleges to the four-year colleges. After my first semester, I planned the rest of my GE classes with my counselor. I mean, I didn't go exactly the way that they planned it with me. I just went with whatever I know I can handle in that semester, or just furthermore. Like, for example, for me, what I do is that if I have my major classes, I don't want to have more of those classes, like majority like of it, and then have no more like other electives or different classes. So I always mix them up so it's not too overwhelming. When you are applying for your four-year colleges, you have to plan your last semester ahead, because it has a section that says what your planned classes are going to be for your last semester at community college. So you have to really figure that out as well. And also with registering for classes, always remember, write down, put on your planner, put on your calendar when your registration date is, the date and the time, and put an alarm if you have to, because it is really important to not be behind on that, because your classes will be taken. They tell you when your registration date is. Definitely plan your classes before your registration date, especially if you can see the classes that are available, and just list all of them, list all the days that they're available, the times, the professors, write down the code that you need to put in to officially register, and obviously the subject, which class it is. And I'm telling you this because when you do it last minute, it is gonna be so overwhelming to figure out how to plan your classes, because sometimes they have around the same time or they overlap, and you cannot do that. You cannot overlap. It's gonna be too overwhelming and it's not gonna be good, because obviously you cannot leave one of your classes early and go to your other class. Like, that's not how it works. Just to remember, because I don't know why it just didn't click for me, but when you're registering for classes, it has like abbreviations of the days, and most of the time, majority of our classes are gonna say M and W, so that's Monday and Wednesday. You do not go Monday for the time it has, and then Wednesday you go like the last time it has. Like, for example, if it's a lab, like, you don't go to the second time that it has. Like, you have to go from the start of that time that it says to the end of that time. And also same with Tuesdays and Thursdays. So just remember, usually they have Mondays and Wednesdays, or Tuesdays and Thursdays. They're always for each of your classes. Hopefully that makes sense. One of the tips that I would say is follow your community college, your social media accounts, and your four-year college that you're interested in, so you could get more of a feeling of what the college is like, the resources, the kind of people that they have, the kind of like all the things that they have at the schools, so all the updates too. And always look at your school email. They have, my school at least, they have so many resources that they email their students. Like, it is almost every single day that they're having something going on, especially during like COVID meetings. They're always having something, so always look at it. They have college fairs that are virtual. They have you could talk to certain college representatives on a certain date that they're scheduled. You could talk to your transfer center. You could talk to like all the other resources that are available at your school, just in general. Like, they have so many things, and you have to be on top of that so you can get as much information as you need, even if it's repetitive. Like, I've gone to the same meetings like maybe 2 or 3 times, and I've always found something new that I didn't know about. Also, scholarship opportunities too. They may have scholarship opportunities or just financial aid information or things of that nature. And follow like informative like social medias. Like, for me, one of the social media accounts like on Instagram that I follow that has had like college like tips and tricks, like advice, is Dear Asian Youth. And they've had like a whole bunch of college advice Zoom meetings. And if your college has an app to like communicate with you, or like for homework, always turn on your notifications, especially with your email for your school, because you do not know if you're gonna miss an important message or email or something. And again, with checking your resources, like my school had tutor centers on different subjects, or a general tutor. They had food pantries, which majority of colleges have. Obviously, they have a bookstore and library. And you should either get your textbooks from the school's bookstores, because usually it's the ones with like the code that you need to do for homework. Like, if you're gonna have a textbook that requires a code, just get it from the bookstore, because it's gonna be iffy if you get it from somewhere else, because you don't know if it's gonna be the exact same one that is directly what your professor is asking for or what. And if you are going to get like a textbook that doesn't really require a code, that you can just get secondhand or something, or cheaper, then you could definitely do that, because I've done that. And just make sure they're credible, make sure the reviews are saying that they're good and they're in good quality, that they're not this or that is not good. So just always check. And then you can look at the clubs that they have. They have counseling, like educational counseling obviously, and psychological counseling. And you just gotta explore the school's website. Like, there are so many things on the school's website that you might not be told. Like, just look at every single little thing, like bookmark it, write it down or whatnot, but just explore through the website, because you never know when you're gonna need it. You never know what you've missed or what. And for me, I wanted to start working out, so my first semester I enrolled into a class that was like, you could go to the gym, because my college, they said that I think you have to take like 2 gym classes, so on like 1 each semester, and then you could have access to the gym for like life, I think. So I took it 1 semester, and I was so happy because it felt so much better going there voluntarily instead of like, you know, high school you had to do gym. And then the most important thing before you, I would say, apply for colleges, your second to last semester, you have to look at when you're supposed to petition to graduate, when you're graduating, how you're supposed to petition to graduate, because I saw the posters at school when we were on campus, and so I had to take a picture and just like remind myself that I have to petition to graduate. So if not, then they're not gonna assume you're just gonna graduate. Okay, like you have to do that on your own. Also with classes, back to the classes, you have to drop the classes yourself. They're not gonna drop the classes for you or add the classes for you. You have to do that on your own. Next thing is that make a lot of acquaintances and participate in class, especially because if you participate in class and you talk to your professor more, then you'll more likely be able to ask them for a letter of recommendation. Because if you're just gonna ask them for a letter of recommendation and they don't even know you because you didn't participate, they'll least likely accept your request. For me, when I pick professors, I use to rate my professor or ask like my friends that have taken the classes or have the same professors, like how it's like, so you like at least know. And also like depending how you're able to understand what they're teaching, like the different teaching methods. Because for me, if a professor is difficult to understand, I'm not gonna be able to pass the class. Like I will barely pass the class, but I don't even know if I actually will. So you have to see, well, I mean, if you care, you have to see like what the professors are like. In college, you meet new people every semester or every quarter, depending on the system that your college has. And for me, it's pretty nice because you get to meet more people than usual, because obviously high school you're just in the same like environment with everybody, so you don't really get to meet new people as much, except for like the next year or the next class. Join clubs or make your own club. Obviously making your own club, you have to get it approved, you have to do paperwork, but you could join clubs if they're available, like during COVID. But on campus, most likely they're definitely available. Get contact infos of your classmates for homework. I mean, obviously ask them, and if they say no, that is fine. Do not pressure them to give you their contact information, because obviously not everybody's comfortable. Or they could do social medias instead of like your phone numbers. Constantly check when the 4-year applications are open and when they are due. So there are, I believe there are 3 application sites that colleges use to get like applications from everybody. Is Common App, which is majority of like the private institutions, And then Cal Apply, which is obviously Cal States, and then UC Apply is obviously the UCs. So, and obviously you have to check that they are the legit websites. You cannot go onto, like, I don't know if there actually is like fake websites, but you cannot go on those because they will steal your information. Also, get help from your school's transfer center, your counselor, or college friends on like where to apply, how to apply. Fill out, I'd say the first day that it's open, fill out all the basic information first, because you already have those ready. You don't need to think about it. You don't need to, like, you know, that's all your basic information, such as obviously your birthday, where you were born, your previous education, your family's education, how many people are in the family, blah blah blah, like, you know, all the basic things about you that you wouldn't have to like write out and think about. Double check with your counselor when you're done with like literally the whole thing, so you know that if you filled something out wrong, you didn't fill something out like at all, or if you need to ask like what to do on like one of the sections. And then always write down your login information, because you do not want to keep putting forgot my password, and then it locks you out if you do it so many times. And then check if you're eligible for fee waivers up to apply, and then you have to pay for the application fee. If there's an essay included, for example the private colleges and the UCs, they have like their general essay questions. You should look at the questions that you want to answer, the prompts that you want to answer, have like an outline of what you possibly want to write down, and then ask your counselor, or ask like your professors, or ask like your transfer center or something like that, like some of the resources you have at school, to double check if they think it would be good to have as your essay answer. And especially when you're done with your first draft, you need to check in and see if your drafts are okay. Just keep on checking to see if they're okay, because you don't want to send in something that wasn't proofread, or that may seem off or not understandable to the people reading your applications. And have your high school and community college transcripts ready, because you need to fill that out in the applications as well. Like your courses that you took when you graduated from high school, when you're going to graduate from college, when you started high school and college. So you need all that information with you. And have the like financial information ready, like your parents' financial or tax returns, or if you're independent, then your own like financial papers, and your high school information papers, like aside from your transcript, because they do ask for at least in California, they do ask for a certain ID number, and if you don't know what the ID number is, you should possibly just ask your counselor, and then ask your high school, and ask your counselor or professors for a letter of recommendations. Obviously ask that like when you're like applying, and give them like 2 to 3 weeks to make that letter of recommendation. Do not do it last minute. Ask them in advance. For scholarships, I would say check if they're credible. Always check if they're credible, because sometimes if they're asking you for money, that means they're scamming you. Or if they're asking for personal information such as your social security, they're most likely scamming you, because they wouldn't be asking you for any other information aside from your school and possibly your address to send you like a letter or the check. Ask your advisors as well, or the resources from school, to make sure that they're credible. When transferring, I would say that this one was like the most confusing thing I had to experience, but also because I suppose I just didn't read it carefully. But obviously read everything carefully, double check everything, ask questions. Like for me, with a financial aid for my new college, I was confused on how it worked. So I thought I was supposed to apply for an installment plan, which is when you pay amount of money each month for like certain amount of months for your tuition. But I guess I misread or didn't read when it said that if you have financial aid and that it covers your tuition, you don't have to get an installment plan. So just letting you know, that's how your school is. Read everything carefully and note it down. Also, do not forget that when you're accepting and declining your financial aid, there is obviously a due date when to accept and decline those. Do not forget to decline them, because for example, if it's a loan, they're gonna assume you accepted it and then you'll have to pay for it, and I don't think you want to pay for something you didn't expect to get. So definitely don't forget to decline the things that you do not want to accept. Make sure to confirm or press submit. Always check the student portal. Oh my goodness. So like, I feel like it's just financial aid that I just like really had trouble on with like all different kinds of like schools. So for one of the schools that is applying to, it's a private college, I wasn't notified of like the extra paperwork I needed to turn in before like a certain due date or something, and I didn't know I had to turn in like a transcript. So remember to order your transcripts, your high school and your college transcript, your community college transcript, to be sent to the schools you're applying to, that you know you're gonna like actually apply to, and send it to them ahead of time, because the processing, the delivering, and the processing on their part is gonna take a long time most likely. So be sure to be ready and write down, take note, remind yourself that you have to send in your transcript when they're due. And also, back with the financial aid, keep looking at the student portal. When choosing your college, that's just on what you prefer. Because for me, I am just thinking of like the school that I don't have to pay as much in if I would have to pay in loans. Because I do, for example, if there's one college that I would have to pay like this certain amount of money in loans, and then there's another college that I have to pay way more money in loans, I'd rather go with the smaller one, because especially depending on the career that you want to get into, and I know my career would not be able to help me have a lifestyle and then have to pay for those debts, it's just not gonna work out for me. So I just decided that I'm not gonna want to deal with that. I'd rather avoid it. So I mean, that's just on you. You could still take out loans and still go to the college that you really want to go to, especially because if they have a program that you really want to take, or like that college really stood out to you, definitely go to it, because that is your choice. By the end of the day, you do you, you know yourself, you know what you can handle, what you cannot. Definitely do not like miss an opportunity. I mean, obviously, always think of the pros and cons and everything. These are my tips and all my notes about community college and transferring. And I just want to say, as a final note, is that it's okay if your timeline is different than other people. So don't force yourself to like rush into possible like danger to your mental health or to even your physical health. So only take what you can handle. I mean, if you can handle more than like most people, then that's okay. But just don't put yourself at risk of getting sick because you feel like you're behind. Like, you just take it one step at a time, because at the end of the day, school is always there. It is always there. Always, 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 always. Use the resources they have so they can help you. So, for example, you don't have to retake another class. It's just, you know, if you take all the resources, at least you tried your best. You use all that you can. And it's not like, oh, I didn't use this or that. Like, I didn't even try to like ask for help. Like, always ask for help, because by the end of the day, it's you that needs to figure it out. And if you want to pass the class, pass the class. That is all for this video. I will possibly have the next video about the apps and different other like things of time management for school, like other school, like electronic or something, or planning, organizational things. So that will be in the next video. And I don't know about my other videos, but you will just see it when I post it. So thank you for watching. Sorry for the inconsistency. But truly, I only post the videos that I'm passionate about, and I think that's the best way to do things. So yeah, thank you so much. Goodbye. I will see you in the next video, and whenever that is. Okay, bye. Also, I forgot to add, if you have any other tips or advice for people going into college, or just graduated from high school, or applying to college or community or whatnot, put it in the comments, because more advice and more tips are super duper helpful. It is very useful, super beneficial. Even if you think it's not, you should definitely comment it, because it is needed. Okay, bye-bye.